What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk a lot about crowdfunding, raising capital, how do you actually plow forward with your startup company, with the business you're trying to grow, and ways of doing that with fundraising, with alternative ways of raising money. I talk a lot about that on this channel and obviously using crowdfunding. And today, I want to get into the juggernaut in the room, WeFunder, and some quick tips that you should be aware of if you're interested in using this equity crowdfunding platform and raising money in 2023. I'm going to be sharing some great tips for you in this video. Make sure you take notes. Hope you enjoyed, and it's coming up right after this. Oh boy, I am so blown away by the success of the team at WeFunder and many of the other equity crowdfunding platforms that are out there in the crowdfunding industry. I've been in the industry since 2012, and I've been watching the rise of equity crowdfunding through obviously the Jobs Act and the raising as well when it comes to limits, everything that was happening with COVID. It's one of the most exciting times to be alive, and in my opinion, one of the easiest times as well for a founder, for a startup e-commerce entrepreneur, for any type of person who is a business owner to actually raise money using equity crowdfunding. In addition, I think that there are so many different, really crazy and really confusing terms when it comes to equity crowdfunding and when it comes to WeFunder. And in this video, I kind of want to just boil down and disseminate a lot of these really quick tips for you so you can hit the ground running. You know what you got to focus on. You don't have to dig through piles and piles of boring information. Hopefully, you come away from this video armed with a new war chest of strategies that you can apply to your campaign, and you can raise more money this year. All right, so let's start with my first tip for you, and that's really understanding the terms that go into a WeFunder campaign. I'm not talking about the terms of the deal. I'm really talking about more so the vocabulary. I've learned this from a very early stage in my career. I started as a blogger. I went to podcasting. I went to YouTube. I've written books. I've done coaching. I've done courses. I do an agency. I've done so many things in my lifetime. I've gotten involved in real estate, right? It's one of the most exciting things to get involved in a new industry. And when you're trying to enter a new industry, you should always start to learn the glossary of terms or vocabulary. First of all, we want to talk about SPV. What does SPV stand for? SPV stands for Special Purpose Vehicle, okay? So this is basically what people are investing in and what the way in which they are actually investing in your company, typically along the lines of a crowd safe, kind of agreement or arrangement. Another term that you should think about is lead investor. What is a lead investor, right? A lead investor is someone who's initially putting that funding into your deal under regulation crowdfunding. They're investing on the same terms as everyone else, and there's usually a little bit of a larger investment for that particular lead investor. So other investors are looking to that lead investor not only as credibility, but they're also investing on the same terms as it. Another term that I want to throw out is test the waters phase. Test the waters phase I've covered in other videos, but it's one of the phases that you go through when it comes to a regulation crowdfunding campaign. It allows you to secure non-binding indications of interest from potential investors in your community, your business connections, your friends, your family, your existing customer base, before you actually blast this out there, and you can shout this from the rooftops using the general solicitations provision of the Jobs Act and the SEC exemptions when it comes to regulation crowdfunding. Another big term when it comes to this is vouching. So vouching is actually something that WeFunder allows you to do at the time of recording this video, where you can actually get other people to vouch for you as a founder. So one of the hardest things when it comes to launching a WeFunder campaign is actually standing out above the pack, and you do that with vouching. So vouching is where it's a very easy bit of functionality where you can invite your friends, your family, your previous connections to kind of leave a testimonial for you. And when you launch your campaign, it all of a sudden gets tons of these testimonials on the page, and other people can see that you are a legitimate operation and you're a legit founder. The other thing you should be studying are investment contracts or terms when it comes to a particular deal. So there are different types of deals which you can offer on WeFunder to your investors. And you might have a great company, but if you got the wrong deal, you got the wrong terms, it might not be a great investment for someone who has never met you before. So understanding, for example, the difference between crowd safe, the difference between preferred equity, right, or preferred stock, the differences between a convertible note, right, and understanding that, a priced round. All these are different terms which you should understand when you're actually trying to raise money from investors and using regulation crowdfunding to do that. Another term I'm going to throw out is general solicitation. So general solicitation is basically the kind of rule book that allows you to then actually promote your offering globally, all all over the world via the internet, shouting it from the rooftops, right? Holding up signs if you want to people who are driving down the highway, whatever it is, you can actually promote this offering which you're doing. And before the Jobs Act, before the legislation when it came to regulation crowdfunding, this was not something that was legal to do, but now it is. If you're running a campaign on a registered crowdfunding portal, typically, or a broker dealer, you can actually use general solicitation if you are doing regulation crowdfunding, which allows you to then broadcast this to the masses. However, when it comes to general solicitation, there are also some rules which you need to be cognizant of. One of those is what's called tombstone style advertisements. So I'm a marketer, right? I got a marketing company. I love coaching people as well who like to do their own marketing. And one of the things we always talk about is the need for tombstone style advertisements. And that's basically having a disclosure when you're doing some of these marketing tactics that we talk about in my book, Equity Crowdfunding Explained. You need to have tombstone style advertisements. And really what that means is that you're mainly pushing people to WeFunder when you are doing your marketing, when you're doing your ads, when you're doing your social media. You're not just disclosing different elements of the deal, you're really pushing people to the platform. So that's another thing you should be aware of. Another term that I want to drop there, and I'll maybe do one or two more, then we'll cover the next point, is you should be aware of what a rolling close is, right? What the heck is a rolling close? The first time I heard that, it sounds kind of cool, but what does that actually mean, right? So you should study that. You should be aware of the rolling close. This is another tool in your toolbox when it comes to doing a raise, and also I think a way to de-risk the entire process. Once you raise a bunch of money, if you follow the stuff I talk about in Equity Crowdfunding Explained, or you book a one-on-one coaching call with me and you follow the things that I mentioned, then you gotta make sure you know what a rolling close is, because again, it really de-risks. Once you've raised a bunch of money, you can then actually cash out, and there's a way to do that. Two more things I want to mention when it comes to vocabulary. The first one is the Form C. You gotta know what a Form C is when it comes to regulation crowdfunding, right? If you want to actually be able to, take the funds out of your particular raise. So you should study up on what a Form C is. It's a very integral part when it comes to doing a regulation crowdfunding campaign. It's a natural byproduct of also doing the test the waters, right? Filing your Form C so you can actually then, be public. This is something that's really important, and there's a little bit of nitty-gritty that goes into that, but WeFunder does actually a pretty good job, I think, of holding your hand when it comes to the Form C. And the last thing is your funding meter and your funding duration. These are two really important key terms, because the funding duration is going to determine the level of urgency that this raise has, right? The amount of time that people have to really take action on that particular investment or those early bird terms which you are offering. And then of course the funding meters, how much you're actually trying to raise, how much you have raised, and also maybe the early bird terms, I would say, would be another good bit of vocabulary to study. So point was to, when it comes to quick tips with WeFunder, was to really study and understand that vocabulary, right? The second thing is to understand what you need, the hard assets that you gotta have in order to get someone to become an investor. Now, this is different from marketing outreach. This is different from your marketing strategy, right? I'm really talking about creative. I'm talking about what you need to get people excited, for them to logically understand that this is actually a good investment, and for them to take action. So a couple of things I want to mention in this section. You should definitely be writing this down.
Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? FulfillRite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from FulfillRite today. Link in the description.
So a couple of quick tips. Number one, you gotta have a video. There are campaigns out there that have raised millions of dollars on WeFunder that don't have a video. However, unless you already are extremely credible and you already have a really big crowd, I do recommend having a video, because it's such a freaking powerful medium. Think about it, you're watching a video right now. So it's a powerful way to communicate your story. It's an extremely effective way as well to communicate high-level components when it comes to your pitch. It creates a tremendous level of trust when it comes to those investors, and also emotionally engages them. It hooks them into what you're doing as a company. It sells the sizzle, right? It sells that vision. And that's something that I love doing. I love doing marketing, I love doing sales, I love doing all of that. I love to kind of seduce people into a whole new startup, a whole new raise, why they should be so passionate about this way that this founder has discovered of actually solving a problem in the world, right? So you really want to create a video, and also a campaign page that mirrors that video with much more informed language, graphics, GIFs even, things that kind of make this page actually pop off the screen, and that people like actually reading through, that gets them excited, that makes it seem very professional, something that they're going to feel comfortable investing with, a company that sounds like they're doing something and sounds like they're going places. So make sure you also invest a lot of time in that, and also thinking about your perks and your rewards. So that's one of the cool things about regulation crowdfunding, is that when someone invests in your campaign, they can invest, for example, $2,000. They can also get something back in return. So they could get back, for example, maybe a years-long trial if you're doing a software campaign. Maybe they get invited to a special founders dinner, right? I was doing a coaching call one time with a guy, and he was talking about flying people. He has a plane, flying people on his plane, right? As kind of like a cool bonus, than having like dinner afterwards. Like, such interesting ideas. I've talked with other people on my podcast. I have a great example. I think it's Vamper, who then had NFTs as part of their perks. So you can have so many different interesting ways to engage investors in your raise and to make them not just want to invest, but also want to get access to some really cool exclusive swag or really cool things you could not get anywhere else. It also creates that feeling of status, that feeling of something that's special, and makes them want to share this campaign with their friends. The next thing you're going to need are the actual terms of the deal, and thinking about what is attractive when it comes to the valuation of your company, when it comes to the actual contract, which you are doing, which you're allowing people to invest under, and also thinking about the overall global marketplace. So the actual pitch which you are making in order to secure that investor under those terms. So when it comes to the elements of the pitch, for example, really putting a lot of thought and a lot of energy into making a professional pitch deck. This is also something that my team helps with, right? The professional pitch deck, when I'm talking about not just, hey, I created this new startup and I want to raise money, but really thinking about the problem, the market opportunity. I'm thinking as well when it comes to numbers, the size of that marketplace that you're going into, the growth opportunity and potential, the technology, even the intellectual property. There are so many different, the competitors, right? There's so many different elements of a really great pitch, and you need that if you want to have people take action and you want people to invest in your WeFunder campaign. Those are like the minimum bare assets that you need. The final element that I'll talk about when it comes to like the hard assets of your campaign in this video is that you gotta in some way communicate credibility, trust, or social proof, okay? And the reason why is that you're trying to, again, get people who have never met you before to decide to invest in your company. And that could be $100, it could be $500, it could be $1,000. You gotta show that you're a legitimate operation. You gotta show that you're someone who is aggressive, right? You're someone who has a big vision, who has the ability to pull this off. Now, that could come in the form, for example, of vouching requests. That could come in the form of testimonials. That could come in the form of existing users of your product. If you have a startup company or a software service or something like that, it could come in the form of accolades. It could come in the form of your teammates, the team that you're actually able to pull this off. You need in some way to bake in a feeling of professionalism, of credibility, of social proof ideally as well. And what that does is people that actually start to kind of put down their BS meter, they start to kind of lower that action threshold, and they're much more willing to then actually take a look at what you're doing because they realize this is actually a cool company. This company is going places. This guy is serious. So they're actually then willing to take a look at your pitch. But if you don't have any of that, they're gonna look at that and they're gonna think the worst. And that might be, this is a scam. This guy has no experience. They have no idea what they're doing. There's no way that this could ever be pulled off. And they're not even gonna take the time to read through your pitch or watch your video. So make sure you have that social proof and that credibility. The final thing that I want to talk about in this video is the need for a marketing and promotion strategy. If you don't have a marketing and promotion strategy, it's gonna be extremely difficult to stand out when it comes to your WeFunder campaign, right? So the things we talked about before are great for getting people to take action, but you also need to focus on how the heck are you gonna promote this? How do you get the word out there about this particular campaign? What are the channels you're going to be targeting? Even more than that, what are the actual angles when it comes to your marketing strategy? What is the creative that you're going to be putting out there? The copy, the writing, right? The images, the videos, all that kind of stuff. And when it comes to those channels, this is going to be social media, it's going to be paid marketing, it's going to be PR, it's going to be influencers, right? Really thinking about the strategy behind this and also the tactics and the execution that go into the marketing behind your WeFunder campaign. So naturally, if you're going initially, for example, with your friends and family, your professional connections, also thinking about some of those bigger checks or people who have maybe expressed interest in investing in your company in the past. This is a great opportunity for them to take action. For you to actually introduce this to them, other people who have maybe talked about participating in some way, getting them to take action, getting your funding meter going up, building social proof, trending better on WeFunder, and also for those people that come and actually see this, they see as well that other people are participating on your campaign. So my next quick tip for you is to really sketch out a marketing and promotional strategy when it comes to your WeFunder campaign. Be aware of the channels, the mediums, being aware of the angles, what you need to actually convey this, and have this be coordinated over the course of not only your campaign, but also leading up to that if you need to build up those channels a little bit when it comes to sort of just your general business channels. So think a little bit about that. There's way more that I can talk about when it comes to marketing, but I didn't want to make this video to be super long. So I hope that first of all that you are at least thinking, the wheels are turning when it comes to doing an equity crowdfunding campaign, when it comes to doing a WeFunder campaign. You're starting to think about this differently, and hopefully actionable steps which you can take this year when it comes to doing a WeFunder campaign. Number two, tell me a little bit more about you, your business, what you're excited about raising money for. Tell me about your startup. Leave it in the comments down below. Would love to hear from you. And also I have a lot of great other information out there on my YouTube channel, which you can check out. You can see more videos I have out there on WeFunder, as well as other equity crowdfunding websites such as Start Engine, Seed Invest, etc. You can go learn more in the archives of my YouTube channel. But thank you so much for watching me. Thank you so much for your support on this video. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. My name is Salvador Briggman, and I will see you next time.